Hey everybody, welcome back to Zenny 62 Live. This is a short program. It's 7:21 Eastern, which would put it at let's see, 6:21 Central, which would put it at 5:21 Mountain. Is that right? Which would put it at yeah, 4:21. It's 4:21 in Pacific. 4:21. This is a different show. This is a preview of the agenda for this week's Las Vegas Stadium Authority meeting. That's right. So you're saying, what? Yeah. They're having another meeting, folks. Here is the meeting schedule right here. There, okay? We just had the 11th meeting right here. Normally we have once a month, right? But this one is on 25th, the next one. Then the 15th of February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. But this bunch up is because presumably there are a lot of documents to be reviewed. So here is, right now, here's the list of documents. Not necessarily reviewed. These documents, for example, this is the board meeting agenda. These are the minutes from the 11th meeting, right? That's public comment, background materials, stadium authority, quarterly economic survey, the local chamber nominations, the joint use agreement that was passed by the regents, and this is the one that's the black line version. Now, the agenda is my focus right here, so I'm gonna go without any further ado that right here, okay? And I'm gonna walk through it with you, okay? It starts this Thursday, January 25th at 1 o'clock, Clark County Commission Chambers, 500 South Grand Central Parkway. Beautiful building in Las Vegas. Beautiful building. Call to order, roll call, establish a quorum. Quorum means enough people that are able to, make a decision, make votes, that sort of thing, right? Then public comment, and then which will be interesting. Approval of agenda with the inclusion of any emergency items and deletion of any items for possible action. Chairman and committee comments. Approval of minutes of the Las Vegas Stadium Authority board meeting on January 11th. Receive a status update from staff on the administrative items relating to the operation of the Stadium Authority. That's this. Receive a status report from the Oakland Raiders, that's Mark Bedane, on the NFL Stadium project. That's basically a check-in. Where are we? 8, consider and authorize the Clark County Department of Finance to submit the Stadium Authority's quarterly economic survey report to the state of Nevada. Okay. Here's where it gets interesting. Pursuant to the requirements of Section 2.2 of the Community Benefits Plan, approve the selection of one individual from the following list to serve as a member and chair of the Benefit Oversight Committee. And this is politically interesting. We have Karen Cashman, Don Christensen, Joe Coe, Rose Davis, Miles Dixon, Donna DiMaggio, Andreas Estrada, Ken Evans, Rebecca Fountain, Peter Guzman, Jerry Harris, Craig Knight, Anna Seifert, Sean Stewart, Sonny Viona, Archie Walden, and William Wong. That's for possible action. I have to note that Peter Guzman, right here, is one that's favored by Tommy White. He's also a man who follows me on his Twitter account. I know you're out there. But I digress. So we've got, pursuant to the requirements of Section 2.1 of the Community Benefits Plan, create a Benefit Oversight Committee. Okay? And they will receive a report on appointments to that committee made pursuant to Section 2.2 by Governor Brian Sandoval, Senate Majority Leader Aaron Ford, Assembly Speaker Jason Fierson, and the Oakland Raiders for possible action. Number 11 is review and discussion of the UNLV Joint Use Agreement presented for review and approval. And they'll probably rubber stamp that thing. Review and discussion of the Las Vegas Stadium personal seat license purchase and sale agreement. There's no document for that yet. This is what I'm waiting for. Review and discussion of the Stadium Project Development Agreement. That's the first time. That marks the first time, folks, that we'll hear about the real development agreement, not the infrastructure development agreement, not the. And this is what I was trying to get out of Bedane. Not the infrastructure agreement that Clark County approved. This is the real deal between the Raiders and the Stadium Authority that governs how this thing is going to get built and what it's going to have in it. Okay, this is the real deal. And also, if they present it, they do present it, it's not taken off the agenda, or if they don't present, for example, the document, this implies they will, then the next step, sometime in February, will be the reduction, the Raiders hope, of what's called the guaranteed maximum price. And they're going to need that before they can even dream, the Raiders, of getting a hold of any of that bond money or loan money from Bank of America. All right, let me go back to this. So that's, and then review and discussion of the Stadium Financing Trust Agreement. They go hand in hand. Review and discussion of other project documents not subject to approval by the Stadium Authority Board. Now, note, this is not for approval for any of these documents. It's public comment and adjournment. So they're still behind schedule, all right? Because they have one more meeting after this, February 25th. They've got to start buttoning all this stuff up. Okay, that's the review of the agenda. And if we want to see what other documents there are, what we have to do is go here, right? And then see, all right, what do we have? Meeting minutes are interesting, but we have public comment. What are they going to include here? This is always interesting. This is by Brian Hayes. He says the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists of Southern Nevada chapter wishes to participate on all levels of the Community Benefits Agreement. We are available for any introductions that will lead to opportunities for the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, gaining more partners and members that would give voice to the voiceless of Las Vegas. If your goal is a diversified, well, what this should read is, if your goal is diversification of the workforce, CBTU is the way to go. That's how that should be worded, but whatever. And so that's the only letter in public comment, 1-to-1. That's it. Nothing else. Wow. Okay. Hey, Eric Young, how are you? We got the Stadium Authority Quarterly Economic Survey here. And fiscal impact, they're saying none right now. They're giving the background. This is one of 4 pages. Has any employer that accounts for 15% or more of the employment in the area closed or significantly reduced operations since the previous report? That's interesting. This is just a sort of a checkbox deal. And it gives the Clark County population its total assessed value, which is $69 billion. Interesting. And that's it. Just, routine. Nothing there. Well, of major significance. This is the local chamber nominations for the Community Benefits group organization, right? Eric Young has, how many deadlines have they missed? Well, Eric Young, they moved the goalposts. And I'll answer that question. Eric, I'll answer that question in one moment, but I'll tell you that they've essentially moved the goalpost. By October 17th of last year, all the documents that are outstanding were supposed to have been buttoned up. It is now, as of today, January 22nd, and that hasn't been done. So let's look at it this way. Let's round it. Let's say October, November, December, January. So they're 4 months behind schedule. 4 months behind schedule, okay? So anyway, going back to this chamber deal right here. Cool. All right. Local chamber nominations. Latin Chamber of Commerce nominates Sean Stewart. Nevada Contractors. Sean Stewart's names come up a bunch of times. Sonny Vignola, Asian Chamber. Andres Estrada, Lamar Corporation. National Association of Minority Contractors wants Donna DiMaggio, Holly Diggs and Walsh, Jerry Harris of MGM Resorts. Women's Business Council wants Rebecca Fountain, Karen Cashman of Cashman Photo, and Anna Seifert, Women Business Enterprise Council West. Nevada Contractors Association, Sean Stewart comes up again. Western, this is actually this is a 26-page document of suggested, people to nominate. We've got Rosie Davis, Joe Cole, William Wong, Peter Guzman gets a nomination from the Asian Chamber, Urban Chamber, Craig Knight, then Gay and Lesbian Chamber, Don Christensen and Miles Dixon. So remember, this is just for one seat. So right now, Sean Stewart's name is the one that comes up more than once, which, tells you something. So, and judging from the back channel talk I've heard, Sean Stewart very well be the pick. And these are National Association of Minority Contractors nominates the following person: Donna DiMaggio, Jerry Harris, number 1 and 2, okay? And gives her experience there. But this Sean person, let's see what his experience is, because a number of people, that's Miss Donna DiMaggio. She's the attorney with Holly Driggs, Walsh, Fine, Ray, Pulsey, and Thompson, an experienced litigator. She was named one of Nevada's top 100 lawyers. So there's Jerry Harris, Executive Director, Diversity and Contracts of MGM Resorts International. And so you would think she has Bill Hornbuckle's backing, right? Bill Hornbuckle's the president of MGM. Women's Business Enterprise Council has Rebecca Fountain, number 1. Gives an attached resume. There's Miss Fountain. Oh, excuse me, that's Karen Cashman. I don't see Miss Fountain here. There's Rebecca Fountain. Majority owner of Core Business Group. And there's Anna Seifert. I wonder if she's in relation to George Seifert. There's Sean Stewart. He says his construction has always been a part of his life. Graduated from law school. He decided to focus his legal work in the areas of construction and contract law. Currently, he is the executive director of the Nevada Contractors Association, and he formed a partnership between that organization and Nevada, the Las Vegas chapter of the Associated General Contractors. So this is a man who's been around, and it's no wonder been around Las Vegas in political circles. You can see that by his resume. It's no wonder that he appears to be the favorite and may very well be the pick. I would be surprised if he didn't get it. This is for Rosie Davis. 20 years to passionately championing diverse businesses, 25 years of supplier diversity. Now, it's interesting. They did not include a photograph of Sean here. So let's do a little Sean Stewart, Nevada. Let's do a copy paste here. Maybe, can we copy this? Nope, we can't. Sean, let's do this another way. Sean Stewart, Nevada Contractors. How's that? So we go here. Sean Stewart, Nevada Contractors. Like that. All right. And let's see here. Images. And that's Sean Stewart. Aha! White. Interesting. No wonder they didn't include a photograph of him. Here's Sean Stewart. He's the executive director of Nevada Contractors Association. He is the executive director. And, I have to say that, I just have to be blunt. That's, if he were the selection, I understand he has one, I believe, Joy, who is a black representative of an entrepreneurs program. has her backing, if I'm not mistaken, unless she wants to call and correct me. But it would seem to me, given how sensitive this is, that the selection of Sean as the head of this organization would be, considered rather controversial. Because you've got, remember, this is the Benefits Oversight Committee for the Community Benefits Program, all right? That's the idea. And so you've got, this is the National Association of Minority Contractors nominating persons. And like Donna DiMaggio, okay, and Jerry Harris. And so it's supposed to be the benefits, they're supposed to be overseeing benefits that go to the minority community, women and minority, right? So that would be fascinating, as opposed to, Ms. DiMaggio or anyone else, or is it Jerry Harris, right? I'm just pointing out, or Jerry Harris from MGM, who is executive director of diversity and contracts. She seemed like she would be the perfect selection, right? That's what that looks like to me. So I'm just giving you a flavor, folks, for some of the politics behind this and why this just one of many reasons why this process has gone a lot slower than the Raiders would like. You can't just build the stadium today, if you ever could, in the late 20th century, let alone the early 21st century. You have to pay attention to the distribution of resources and wealth within the community so that those who historically haven't been able to enjoy access to contracts are able to do that. That's a big part of what this is all about. Now, if the Raiders don't get that, it's going to be, well, a longer process toward getting this, pushing it further out toward that magic deadline of May 16th, 2018. Just saying, all right? Now, let's go back to this. That's the juicy part on the agenda. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch how that plays out. The joint use agreement, 65 pages. I'm not going to go through that or that. Now I'll get to your comments before I close out. I meant for this to be short. And Eric Young asks, he says, right here, he says, how many deadlines have I missed? I answered, and he says, then I'm safe to assume it's a good thing, right? Well, it depends on whose side you're on. If you're on the side of the Raiders, it's not a good thing because it's a powerful indication that they horribly planned this. I mean, in fact, I think to say that the Raiders planned this would be kind. They rushed into it. It has all the markings of something that has been rushed into. And its outcome, look, it's not a question of if this happens. The question is who's going to get harmed. Will it be the taxpayers when they find out that the stadium tax revenue is not going to come in as they thought it was going to, right? Will the minority community be left out of this? And will they file a lawsuit to make up for that? There are a lot of swords of Damocles hanging over this. This is not easy. And then, of course, there's another problem with the weather. The stadium got waterlogged after the first rain. It took 4, 5, 6 days, a week and a half for the field to drain. What if the rain lasted longer? Because another rain is due to come, I believe, in February. The same kind of rain that caused the overflow of aquifer and the flooding of the Link parking lot, which people think is some sort of joke, I think is symbolic of symbolic of infrastructure failure in Nevada. It's not enough to say this is going to get done. You don't want to do something that then falls apart on you. And this has all the markings of that something. It really does. Your silence says, you laugh out loud. I said community benefits, my bad. Okay, I missed your other comment. You're on that, what you were saying. Let me see. I'm going to go back here and try to find what you said. I'm looking up. Hope that answers your question, Mr. Young, regarding that. Hold on a second. This is not going back. Wait a minute. Oh, there. That goes back there. But then it goes, does it go back here? It's not going up. Okay. Anyway, I guess if it's not going up, it probably means, what I think it means, there's no other comments. Eric's was the first. He said, hello. Hi. So that's where we're at. With it, that's the agenda as it looks right now. What I'm looking for next, you say, what's the next step for me? I'll show you. This is the next step for me in terms of the meetings, right? I'm looking for, look at this. I'm looking for this list of background materials to expand to include the development agreement, all right? Oh, Eric Young, your phone froze. I don't know where you left off, but what I was saying was that, what I was trying to say is that regarding your concern about the deadline, it depends on whose side you're on. If you're on the side of the Raiders, then it doesn't look good. If you're sided against the Raiders, they're pushing more toward that law-established deadline of May 16th, 2018. Now, you would say, does it matter that UNLV signed this agreement? No, because the agreement does not void the deadline. It simply means they agreed to their little place in the stadium, but it doesn't mean that they agreed in any way to subvert the law or the deadline. So there you go. Now, Yurt has a question. He goes back and he asks, excuse me, I missed that. He asks, my question was, if you read the article, who are the favorites on who are the favorites? The favorites for what? Oh, as far as the community benefits head, well, the favorite's Sean. That's the favorite. The person I talked about here, if you're referring to this this document in the agenda, not that one, excuse me. This is, but this one, this is the local chamber nominations, all right? But if you're talking about the local chamber nominations document I'm bringing up right now, it's not coming up. Hold on a second. Let me do that again. Let's see. Why is it not coming up? There it is. Maybe it's this one. Oh, come on. Yeah, this is the one that's coming up. It'll come up in a few seconds, and voila, there it is. Sean Stewart of the Nevada Contractors Association is the favorite of the Latin Chamber of Commerce, and he is also the favorite of the Nevada Contractors Association. Okay, so and that's it. So now Eric Young asks the question here. He asks, would it be safe to assume minorities would be adequately represented in the construction of this stadium in Oakland? Yeah, we've got that down. We don't have this kind of problem. We're pro-union all the way, and that's why I befriended Tommy White. They are in a state, Nevada, that you know, has had some issues with unions getting work versus non-union, desire for non-union workers. And then within that, the unions didn't always get along with African Americans who needed the work, to say the least. In Oakland, we don't have that problem. We are light years beyond that. Okay? We are light years beyond it. And the Raiders basically stepped out of a situation where they wouldn't have had to deal with that problem and put themselves, hip deep into a situation where they are wearing the problem, head deep. They're covered in the problem, and they don't have experience at having to be forced, all right, to actually hire minorities. The only there's nothing, there's no equivalent. I was going to say the only equivalent. The Rooney Rule is not an equivalent. It says you have to interview. It doesn't say hire. This is different, okay? This is entirely different. You have to find and hire talented and qualified women and minority workers, particularly black, because of this primitive idea that if you're dark, you're either less, you're in some kind of way less than. And it is a primitive idea. You know, dark is bad, light is good, and all that. If you think about it from in that way, you realize that the thinking of some people come into this is rather primitive. Well, is primitive, not rather, is. It stems from that. So, but to answer your question, it's a long-winded way of doing so, Eric Young. Yeah. Oakland, the Bay Area, we don't have that problem. We have a hire Oakland first policy we've had in place for 2 decades. We have, in the Bay Area, has a very honed and refined process of hiring women and minority contractors. So yeah, and so it's Yurt says you have to find the article again, but it has the Raiders putting in place not one non-minority, a woman and a minority. That's quite possible. But I also know the Raiders were objecting to having numerical goals, which is I thought it was a bad move, you know. But if you can find that article, I just want to read it for grins. I have a feeling I know what it is. There aren't too many sources, different sources. The little media that's covered this is shameful. You would think there would be a contracting blog that focuses on this, some other video blogger other than me. But no, I feel like I'm doing double duty. Oakland and Las Vegas, because it has to do with, well, the Oakland Raiders and their attempt to relocate to Las Vegas, okay? So there that is. I'm going to, at this time, bow out for right now. I've had 2 live streams already and may do one later, but I'm going to focus on personal health. All right. I'll see everybody later. If you have any questions in the meantime, please, Zenny at Zenny62.com. All right, thanks. I'll see you all. Thanks a lot.